Okay, guys, this is video number 2 of The Garage. And once again, I'm Brian, and that's Ted. And this video is going to be about, and it's a tough subject, and it's probably going to ruffle some feathers, but failing churches. And it's in specific about the youth in the churches today, guys. And now I'm going to say there's going to be a link in description if you want to read this full transcript. But we're going to just kind of this first page gloss over, and we're going to go through the 10 reasons and do like a little free discussion, you know, after each one.
Yeah, if you go to the our website, we have blog pages, and on Brian's blog, we're going to post this up so you can read it in the entirety. But instead of sitting here having him read it all, we're going to hit the highlights and kind of talk.
Yeah, and but it starts off, and like I said, I'm not going to read the opening paragraph here, but I'm going to jump down a bit. You know, here's some statistics for you, and the statistics are absolutely horrifying. 70% of youth stop attending church when they graduate from high school, and that's not good. You know, 70%.
Yeah. Why do you think 70% of the kids stop going to church?
Well, honestly, we are going to get into that here. You know, relevance, you know, people trying to be relevant, people trying to be hip. That's not the pastor's job. Pastor's job is to preach the gospel, number one. Number two, they're giving sophomoric stories in, they still call Sunday school class. Yeah. You know, things of that nature. I mean, I've got 10 reasons here that we're going to go over, but, you know, that's the big thing is, you know, we talk about our greatest resource, the kids.
Yeah.
We say our kids is the greatest resource, or our treasure. You know, but you know, it really breaks down into, you know, it's like one church here locally. It's more like a Dave and Buster's or a Starbucks when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
To get into and it doesn't really look like a sanctuary anymore. It looks more like a Coliseum. I'm waiting for them to let the lions out.
Yeah.
You know, because it looks like a Roman Coliseum.
Yeah.
You know, but I've got 10 reasons here, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you got to, you got to, especially what you're fighting against these days with video games and phones, and you got to get their attention somehow.
Yeah, video games, music, movies.
But, yeah, it can't be a party. And
no. Pizza parties ain't going to work.
So there's a balance. So
yeah. You know, and every year I see churches scramble to get their youth groups ready to go to summer camp. And then they come back from summer camp, and it's more sophomoric stories and showing pictures of foot races and who could paddle the fastest in the canoe.
Yeah.
And they
also
back,
have their prayer times.
Yeah, well, their prayer time, but they come back really with
church,
not much more knowledge than they left with. Where's Bible study at? You know?
Yeah. You got to have Bible study in there, and they got to do their. I always hated it when I was going through church, but doing their memorizations and
that's the thing.
But that stuff you'll learn. If you memorize it, you'll learn it, and then it'll be in your head forever. But
and number 10 is talking about the church trying to be relevant. You know, and let me jump down here. And I'm not ranting about worldliness as some pietistic boogeyman talk about. I'm talking about the fact that we yawn at a 5-minute biblical text, but almost trip over ourselves fawning over a minor celebrity or athlete who makes any vague reference to being a Christian. How many times have we seen that on social media?
Yeah.
Somebody comes out and they put a little Bible verse out. Oh, everybody flips out. And they jump all over it. And the churches are just clamoring to claim that person. Oh, look, he's a Christian.
Yeah.
And they throw it in front of the kids, and then it comes out, oh, well, he had an affair with his wife, and he's getting divorced, or she had an affair, she's getting divorced. So much for that. Yeah. There's your example to your youth group again, you know. And then you got some that, even though they went, they never really attended church to begin with.
Yeah.
And we see them in churches all the time. I recently watched a video of a Sunday school group, and the person said they're talking about, well, now I take a lot of notes when the pastor's preaching, and this kid's sitting over there with his smartphone. He ain't paying no more attention to the man in the moon.
Yeah.
Because the teaching is uninteresting to him. Uninteresting. We have to come at these kids on an intellectual level because they're smarter than a lot of people are giving them credit for.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, you think about this for a minute. When you have your smartphone in your hand, you're having a problem, your teenager walks over and hits a couple buttons and fixed. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the youth of today.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but the simplistic approach doesn't work anymore. And, this segues into this next part. They get smart. And I've got to read just a little bit of this. It's not that our students got smarter when they left home. Rather, someone treated them as intelligent.
Yeah.
They get out away from church, get out away from home, graduate high school, they get to college, they get to wherever, and people are talking to them as an intelligent individual. That right there should just open a lot of people's eyes, and on top of that, you sent them out unarmed. That's number 7.
Yeah.
They're not learning the word.
Yep.
And there's nothing worse than an ignorant Christian.
Yep. Yeah, if you don't know what you're talking about, it's going to be pretty obvious as soon as you start talking about it.
Yeah. And somebody's going to ask you, well, why do you believe what you believe?
Yeah. And simple questions like that. Yeah, why?
Yeah, why? Case in point, and we'll kind of segue here just a little bit. Little role playing here. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm going to act like I used to act before I was a Christian.
Okay.
And you're a Christian. You're going to walk up and try to talk to me. So how would you approach somebody?
On the spot? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
how you doing, brother? That's a nice hat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who Jesus Christ is?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Do you? I'm drawing a blank.
What would be? Do you know?
That's why I need to learn the word.
Do you know him as your Savior?
Do you know him as your Savior? Yeah. There you go.
No. Why should I?
Well, because when we all die, we're going to have to stand before the judgment throne and be judged for our actions. And if you're not a Christian, then you're going to hell.
And now, wait a minute. Now, I've actually had people approach me that way before I was a Christian. And now here's where I nailed them. Can you prove that?
Yeah, it's in the Bible.
Somebody wrote that.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going, though?
Yeah.
A bunch of guys wrote that. How can you prove that?
Yep.
And that's what they're going to encounter. And if they haven't been taught apologetics, haven't been taught how to defend their faith, plop.
Yep.
On their face. Right on their face.
Okay, well, you have a good day. I'm going to go get my soda.
Yeah, Or I would literally, there'd be foul expletives and tell them where to go and have a nice day. Yeah. And I'd walk off. And they'd be flabbergasted. Okay?
Yeah. And then because someone like that treated them like that, they're not going to do it again.
No. They just crawl into their shell, go back to their clubhouse where only members are allowed, and that's it. And they just sit there and be fat little pew babies. Mm-hmm. Next one is you gave them hand-me-downs, guys. You tried to do your best to pass along the internal subjective faith that you feel. You really, really, really want them to feel it too. But we've never been called to evangelize our feelings. You can't hand down this type of subjective faith with nothing solid to hang their faith upon, with no historic creed to tie them to the centuries of history without the physical elements of bread, wine, and water. Their faith is in their subjective feelings, and when faced with other ways to feel, uplifted at college or wherever, the church loses out to things with much greater appeal to our human nature, and they find it in, guess where? Community. Mm-hmm. Community. A lot of churches claim they have community, okay? But is it really? Because have you ever noticed the word is everywhere in the church since seeker-sensitive and church growth movements came onto the scene? Seeker-sensitive, mind you. There's a reason and a driving philosophy behind it, which is outside of, next page, the scope of what's going to be on my blog, okay? When our kids leave home, they leave the manufactured community they've lived in for nearly their entire life. With their faith as something they do in community, they soon find out they can experience this life change and life improvement in community in many different contexts. Mix this with a subjective, pragmatic faith, and the 100th pizza party at the local big box church doesn't compete against the easier, more naturally appealing choices in other communities. So they left.
Yeah.
How do you compete? What do you do? And on top of that, they go out, and because they've been a member of this church and raised in the church their whole life, and you know how many times I've seen PKs, and that's short for preachers' kids. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a PK. I talked to a PK after becoming a Christian. Well, I'm a PK. I'm going to heaven. But are you saved?
Yeah.
Just because you're a PK, just because you go to church, just because you grew up in church your whole life, doesn't mean you're going to heaven.
No.
Okay? If you ain't saved, if you ain't born again, and if you ain't living it, guess what? You ain't going. You can stand in a car all day. Or in a garage all day. It's not going to make you a car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You can stand in the desert all day. It's not going to make you a cactus.
Yeah.
So being a PK isn't guaranteeing that you're going to get through the pearly gates.
Yeah.
It's just not. So what happens when they get out? They find, number 4, they find better feelings. Because everything's based off feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not logic and fact, not training and knowledge, feeling.
Yeah.
So rather than an external, objective, historic faith, we've given our youth an internal, subjective faith. The evangelical church isn't teaching our kids the fundamentals of the faith. We're simply encouraging them to be nice and love Jesus.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Jesus. Be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. But
That's
what
part
else?
of the program. That's the one bite of the steak.
Well, Romans
the
5:8. Romans 5:8, you know. And I did a little meme here, a little Willy Wonka meme. But it says, so you're a Christian and walk away from anyone who doesn't serve you, grow you, or make you happy? Tell me again how Jesus died for you while you were his enemy? Romans 5:8. Please. And that's one of the things I looked at before I was a Christian. These Christians that were like, act like you're there to take care. You're there to serve them.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yep.
Wrong. When the disciples are having an argument, they're having a discussion, and they turn to Jesus, and they're like, who's greatest? Who's best? Who's first?
Yeah.
And the disciples said, the first should be the last should be a first, be a servant to all.
Yep.
That's one of the things. Number 2, they know the truth. These kids know more, like I said, than they're given credit for. So they can't do it. They know it. All that be nice moralism they've been taught. The Bible has a word for it, law.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we fed them, undiluted, since we dropped them off at the Noah's Ark playland. Do and don't do. As they get older, it becomes good kids do or don't. And as adults, do this for a better life. Well, that sounds like Joel Osteen, don't it? Yeah. The gospel appears briefly as another do to get saved, but their diet is law. And Scripture tells us that the law condemns us. So that smiling, upbeat, love God and love people vision statement, yeah, you've just condemned the youth with it. Nice, huh? They either think that they're good people since they don't do any of the stuff their denomination teaches against, drink, smoke, dance, watch R-rated movies, etc., or they realize that they don't meet Jesus' own words of what is required. There's no rest in this law, only a treadmill of works they know they aren't able to meet. So either way, they walk away from the church because, number 1, they don't need it.
Yeah.
They don't need it. And I've seen, countless kids that raised in church, the kids of PK's kids, and a lot of them, you don't see them back in church. You don't see them. And it's because they realize they just felt like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
What's the point? I'll never live up to the expectations that you're giving me to live up to. Never.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, they're smart. They picked up on the message we unwittingly taught. If church is simply a place to learn life application principles to achieve a better life in community, you don't need a crucified Jesus for that. Why would they get up early on a Sunday and watch a cheap knockoff of the entertainment venue they went to the night before? I.e., flashy lights, smoke machines, laser lights, big
concert,
all this junk. I mean, why would they do that?
Yeah.
The middle-aged pastor trying desperately to be relevant to them would be a comical cliche if the effect weren't so devastating. As we jettison the gospel, our students are never hit with the full impact of the law, their sin before God, and their desperate need for the atoning work of Christ. Now that is relevant, that is authentic, and that is something the world cannot offer. Just to fast forward, our kids, we failed to deliver them the faith, delivered it once for all to the church. I wish it wasn't a given, but when I present law and gospel to these kids, the response is the same every time. And I've been out on the streets witnessing to these kids on the car scene. How many churches do you think I saw out there doing that, brother?
Yeah, none.
None. Not a one. Not a one. No, they want to stay in their country club. They want to stay in their clubhouse, members only. I've never heard that. That's what I hear from them. I'm not against entertaining our youth or even jumbotrons or pizza parties, though I probably am against middle-aged guys trying to wear skinny jeans to be relevant. Please don't do that. That's a visual nobody wants. It's just that one thing, the main thing we've been tasked with. We're failing. We failed God and we failed our kids. Don't let another kid walk out the door without being confronted with the full weight of the law and the full freedom of the gospel of grace and forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's time for the churches to stop all the silly, goofy stuff, okay? And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it right out loud. Those of you sitting in these churches that think you're in control of God's house, you are not. It's God's house, and He is in control. And eventually, if you don't move out of the way, He will move you.
Yeah.
Because God's getting to a point where He's fed up. He's tired of people playing games. He's tired of people saying, I'm in control, iron fist control, and if you don't toe the line, guess what? We're not going to make you feel welcome. He's tired of people telling the watchman, go out here to the unsaved because the churched don't need it. Go to the unchurched. Mm-hmm. That's wrong. Absolutely wrong. That is bad theology. That is bad Christianity. That is bad. Absolutely. 100%, 110% disagree. And brother, if you don't mind me sharing this, when Brother Ed got here, he asked me a very, very valid question because as brothers, we are transparent with one another. Mm-hmm. He asked me if I was anti-church. No, I'm not anti-church. I'm anti-religion. And as a segue for the next video, I'm anti-hypocrite. Guys, I hope that when I post this up, please go to the website, link in description, check out the whole thing, because I'm going to post this whole thing on my blog on our website, and it'll be there for you to read. Feel free to download it and share it with your church. Please, Get the word out. Let's pull the kids back in, man. Let's turn that percentage around to where it's not 70% going that way, 70% coming in, or 100%.
Yeah.
Because we can still do it. We still have a little time.
Yeah, and we need the kids. We need the churches are not going to grow if everyone's 70% of everybody's leaving.
Yeah, and when you hear a figure that 50,000 churches shuttered last year, close the doors.
Yep.
It's because they're losing the kids.
Yep.
There's no next generation.
Yep. And we need to if we train the kids right, they're going to want to go evangelize and witness and get out and grow the church.
Yes.
Not your church, but grow the church. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole mega church thing going in my head. You don't need a mega church. We need a bunch of little churches, homes, like we said, the home churches.
Yeah,
get them, and then it will grow. And Wildfire and everybody, I hear that all the time talk about, we need a revival. Oh, we need a revival.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
The kids will get the revival going. You just got to get the kids.
I was out witnessing kids on the street, and I've told the guys this story, but I'd get to witness these kids. The kids were getting saved. Kids were hungry. Mm-hmm. They wanted something genuine. They wanted something real, and they wanted somebody that was genuine and real with them. Yeah. And the way they got saved is I came to them where they were at. That's what Jesus does for all of us. And when I came to them, these kids started getting saved, and I'm sitting there on my own dime, man. I had no support system.
Yep.
Okay? And I'd go to a Christian bookstore and I'd buy Bibles. I mean Bibles. I even had one of the evangelists on TV send me a whole box of Bibles.
Okay.
And handing them, these kids would get saved. Here's a Bible, here's a Bible, here's a Bible.
Yeah.
Here's my phone number. I'd write my number. Okay? And when you have a kid call you at 1:30 in the morning, I need your help. They're not looking for somebody to go, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
They need somebody that's going to go,
pray.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jesus does for us. He says, I'll be there. So you get up at 1:30 in the morning, you get dressed, and you take off, and you get over there to find out this young lady who's been dealing with a lot of stuff. Yeah, she just got saved, but she slipped and fell, and there was violence in the home. And you get over there, and what are you going to do, Christian? If you ain't studying the Word and you ain't well-founded in the Word in your prayer life, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, Jesus loves you. God bless you. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. Yeah, I do go to the unchurched. How about you?
Yep. Good point.
Yeah.
All right.
We done there?
Yeah,
That was a good one?
it's good.
Hey, that was a good one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, link in description. All this is going to be on my blog.
Yep.
Feel free to share.
God bless.
God bless.